Yesterday, I began my second term as governor of the great state of Illinois, and today we made history, becoming the 9th state to institute an assault weapons ban and one of the strongest assault weapons bans in the nation. A little over 6 months ago, a peaceful 4th of July for families all across the state was shattered in the wake of the massacre in Highland Park. 7 families lost loved ones. A 2-year-old child was left parentless. 36 people were injured, all because our state and our nation has been held hostage by the NRA and their allies time and time again. After nearly every mass shooting, we've seen efforts to ban dangerous weapons thwarted, and then leaders send their thoughts and prayers while they throw their hands up, resigning themselves to the idea that gun violence is a sacrifice that Americans must accept. But it doesn't have to be that way. For the past few years, members of the General Assembly and I have battled the powerful forces of the pro-gun lobby to pass effective gun safety legislation. We've had occasional victories, but on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, victory has been elusive. That's why today I couldn't be prouder to say that we got it done. Illinois now officially prohibits the sale and distribution of these mass-killing machines and rapid-fire devices. I'm signing this legislation tonight so that it can take immediate effect and we can end the sale of these weapons of war as soon as possible. This law does not ask current lawful owners of these assault weapons to give up their lawfully acquired guns, but it does require an accounting for the weapons currently in circulation, so we know who is responsible for them if they fall into the wrong hands. And while the AR-style rifles used in mass shootings like Highland Park have garnered much of the press coverage and infamy, too many mass shootings are committed using handguns altered by something known as a switch, to convert a pistol into an automatic weapon. This type of weapon was used to kill 2 people and wound 7 others in the McDonald's shooting in Chicago. The Chicago Police Department recovered nearly 500 of these weapons between 2018 and 2021. And Cook County prosecutors filed more than 500 cases involving machine gun-style weapons during that time. But as of today in Illinois, these switches are illegal. Anyone caught with one will be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. It has been a hard-fought battle, but we got this done for Highland Park's Kevin and Irina McCarthy, Jackie Sundheim, Catherine Goldstein, Eduardo Uvaldo, Nicholas Toledo Zaragoza, and Stephen Strauss. For Benito Juarez High School's Brandon Perez and Nathan Villegas, 2 friends, just 15 and 14 years old, whose bright futures were cut short just last month. We got this done for all the victims, the spouses, the children, parents, friends, and loved ones who are no longer with us, and for those who have survived mass shootings but were injured. Today, we honor them, their trauma, and their loss by preventing others from becoming victims. This critical legislation would not have been possible without the steadfast leadership of House Speaker Chris Welch and Senate President Don Harmon. And I also want to recognize their members, Representative Bob Morgan, Representative, You're going to have to do that 5 times. Representative LaShawn Ford. Representative Maura Hirschauer. Senator Jackie Collins. And Senator Julie Morrison, all of whom have been champions. I also want to thank the hundreds of activists for gun safety, many of whom came on their own to petition the General Assembly, plus the women and men from Moms Demand Action, Every Town, the Brady Campaign, Protect Illinois Communities, GPAC, and Students Demand Action. This new law was passed because of their passion. This assault weapons ban is a step in the right direction to improve safety for Illinois' families and law enforcement, but there's no magic fix, no single law that will end gun violence once and for all. So we must keep fighting, voting, and protesting to ensure that future generations will only have to read about massacres like Highland Park, Sandy Hook, and Uvalde in their history books. It's our burden and our mandate, one that we carry with solemn honor for our children who will grow up in a better and safer world. And with that, it is my great pleasure to introduce once again one of the champions of this legislation, Speaker Chris Welch.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It truly is an honor and a privilege to be standing here with all of you and our governor, the Senate President, colleagues in the House and Senate, and all of these amazing advocates here tonight. You know, I've been coming to this building for 10 years now, and I gotta tell you, I've heard for a long time, when we organize, we win. When we organize, we win. And for many years, the NRA out-organized us, outspent us, allowed these weapons of mass destruction that belong on battlefields to be in our communities. And for far too long, families have been changed in the blink of an eye. Too many families have lost brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, loved ones, unnecessarily because of the NRA and their grip on politicians all over this country. But volunteers, moms demanded action. Every town, everywhere, people all over this country said, we want to protect our communities. You know, and they didn't settle for anything less. And so we got it done because we organized. We organized and we won. And the people of the great state of Illinois won. This bill is called the Illinois Protect Communities Act for a reason. We do believe it's going to make a significant impact in reducing these weapons on the street. And if it saves just one life, just one, it was successful. But we believe it's going to save many more than that. And so I honestly believe that this is a day that we should all be proud of, because this is why you've elected leaders to come to Springfield and make the types of decisions that we made. This is why many of the leaders signed up to come here and do this job. I know it because I know the legislators who put in the work. I know why Bob Morgan is here. I know why Maura Hirschauer is here. I know why LaShawn Ford and Kathy Willis and Denise Wang Stoneback and all of the common sense gun advocates in the House and in the Senate sign up for this job. and it's for a historic day like today. I shared earlier that I didn't know that this would happen today. And I certainly didn't know that my mom would be here for the passage of this historic legislation. But what an amazing, awesome honor it is to have her here to witness the great work that we get to do for the people of Illinois. You know, our family was changed by gun violence, but we made it by the grace of God and by leaning on faith. And we put in the work to just help one family. We did that. I'm so doggone proud of everyone. Thank you, advocates, for what you did. This is just one victory. I'm sure there's many more to come. But today, we celebrate because we won. It is truly my honor to introduce to you my partner, my friend, the Senate President, Mr. Don Harmon.
Good evening, all. I suggested to the governor earlier this evening that we have this signing ceremony in the rotunda. It was a request that had come to me from an advocate and a Highland Park survivor who's been here for the last few days. But it made immediate sense to me because it's been here in this rotunda that we have had so many rallies over the years for common sense gun laws. And so to begin, I want to thank the tireless advocates who dedicated themselves to this work, many of whom are gun violence survivors themselves. We have wonderful partners all over the country, but I am especially grateful to our hometown partner, GPAC, a longtime advocate in this space, the newest and most potent addition to our cause, Protect Illinois Communities, and of course, to the ever-present Moms Demand Action. We would not be here without all of you. I want to thank Speaker Welch, Governor Pritzker, and the Senate Democratic Caucus for their partnership in this effort. I especially want to salute the Senate Democratic members who are here, Senator Matty Hunter, Senator Robert Peters, Senator Mike Simmons, and calling special attention, Senator Ron Villivollen, who has carried difficult gun bills in the past, and Senator Julie Morris, and Highland Park Senator, who has carried difficult bills at great personal peril. I salute all of you and thank you for your work. We acted from the beginning of this process with a shared goal, to take meaningful steps towards curbing the unacceptable gun violence on our streets. Gun violence touches every corner of our state on a daily basis. I've spent my entire career working to protect people from it, and sometimes it feels like we haven't even made a dent. But today, with this new law, we begin the pushback against weapons whose only intent is to obliterate other human beings. On July 4th, it was a stark reminder of the horror that these weapons can unleash on a community. On that day, men and women and children gathered to celebrate the country's founding, to celebrate freedom, to enjoy spending time together on a warm summer day. Instead, 7 people lost their lives and dozens were injured, and more psychologically so, as someone unleashed weapons of war on the Highland Park 4th of July parade. The proliferation and ready access to these high-powered weapons that have an original basis in military and combat have no place in common commerce and on our streets. They contribute to the everyday violence that is unfortunately becoming commonplace. A week does not go by without a shooting in the district I represent, and I know my colleagues can say the same. In fact, I often say every weekend there are mass shooting casualties in and around the district I represent, but we don't pay as much attention to them. For, among other reasons, because they happen at different times to different people on different corners with different guns. But the pain is the same. This law is an effort that will not solve the problem, and we don't pretend that it will. But it's an additional tool to curb the flow of firearms into our communities, an additional step in the ongoing effort that so many of us are waging to make our state truly secure and safe. This law sends the message that we have not grown numb to the horror, and that the cries for action after East mass shooting will not go unanswered. This message sends This sends the message that reason and common sense can prevail. It's my privilege to introduce a great champion on the issue, Governor Pritzker's partner, our Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I am Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, and I use she, her pronouns. Thank you, President Harmon, for that warm introduction. I would also like to commend you, Speaker Welch, and the lawmakers of the General Assembly for your courage, compassionate leadership, and collaboration that led to the passage of this historic legislation that will save lives. And can we pause for a moment just to acknowledge our great governor, Governor J.B. Pritzker. Governor, you have prioritized making all Illinoisans safe. You dug in and inspired active change that now protects communities in every zip code. And as someone coming from a family directly impacted by gun violence, for this we are grateful. I would also like to thank the advocates and the brave survivors of gun violence for standing up and fighting for all communities to have the right to live, work, and be safe. We all know that living free from gun violence makes everything else possible. To educate our children, we need them to be safe. To attract new businesses and expand economic opportunity in our communities, we need those communities to be safe. To be our best selves, both physically and mentally, we need to be safe because the trauma of gun violence and even living with the threat of gun violence inevitably takes its toll. The pain is real. The time is now. We stand together here to say enough is enough because the students, yes, enough is enough. Because the students, families, and educators of Benito Juarez High School in the Pilsen neighborhood in Chicago, who are mourning after last month's mass shooting, they deserve action. We stand here for the people of Highland Park who deserve our support and our voices as they continue the long road of healing after the immense grief that they experienced during the July 4th mass shooting. Today, we come together to mark the passage of the Protect Illinois Communities Act because there have been too many mass shootings to count, too many lives lost, and we will not accept this as normal. For too long, this epidemic has been able to grow, and this bill will stop the spread. It is comprehensive in its ban of assault weapons, including devices that could increase the firing rate of a gun and turn it into a mass killing machine. We are making history today. And this great step forward only drives us to continue focusing on the comprehensive steps we can take to ensure every community can live healthy, safe, and well. And with that, I am thrilled to invite Governor Pritzker back to the lectern, or to the table, really, to sign this bill into law. Come on. Your mama.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. And while you're at it, please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.